guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we are here for another one of our Christmas advent calendars in our countdown to Christmas series that we are doing. We are day 10 of the advent calendar, and day 10's offering is this junk journal. Now this is probably the fattest junk journal I've ever made. I'm just going to kind of show you. I don't know quite what happened to this one. I mean, all of my journals end up chunky. This one literally got completely and utterly out of control. I'm not really too sure, you know, how or why, but yeah, it just exploded. So let's have a look and see what is in the journal, or what the journal is like. So it's a soft cover journal. They're my favourite journals to make, and it is made from an envelope that has then been covered with fabric around the outside. On the front it's got obviously some lace trim here, it's got a beautiful topper there, it's got one of those jabos that we've done in a tutorial. We've got some lace here, lots of different lace trims and things, bows, and then finally it's got some of those Tim Holtz paper dolls there. So going inside, we have got here on the inside of the front cover, this is a beautiful mini booklet thing, I suppose I would call it. And inside there you've got various different pages. Now I have to just apologise, I have put these in upside down. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but yep, they're upside down, so I just want to point that out. But these are just that gorgeous internal envelope page, and here you've got kind of a pocket arrangement, so you could put something in that pocket and of course in that pocket there, so you know you've got kind of extra little pockets in there. I didn't put anything in because obviously the journal itself is enormous already. It really didn't need anything else. You've got some gorgeous butterflies here, so you've got a pretty butterfly here, and then you've got a butterfly here on the edge. This has all been just stitched in. I do have a tutorial coming up to make these, but it will be obviously in the new year now. Then you've got a magnetic closure, so that just closes like that. You've got some lace trim down here, a beautiful bow, and then some genuine vintage papers here, and then finished off with a lovely wax seal which has been kind of bronzed and things to match obviously the bow. Got some lace trim down there. Then you've got a plain page here for journaling, and then going over the page we've got here some lace trim, and then we've got a little fold out. So this is just a little fold out with a flap, and then you've got some journal space here, so it's been kind of double backed with book page so it's a bit more rigid. And then you've got journal space here, and then this here is from my printable, which I can't remember now what they're called, but yep, they are obviously available in my shop. These are my bright butterflies, and this is just forming a pocket, and tucked into there you've just got a few samples of those little bits which I have been putting in on my website for the kits, and I will be intending on doing that more in the new year. And then you've got a fabric ruffle down here. Then on the facing page we've got a very pretty pocket here. Now this one is using, you know, those Tim Holtz die things. I can't remember what they're called, the slot dies. So we've got the slot die on top of the pocket. Now I have to be honest, you know, I've had my slot die for a long time, and I did do this tutorial of using the slot dies together with you guys. I have never been very pleased with the slot pockets. They're much smaller than I realised, and yeah, obviously this was a way to make more of them. So tucked in the side of here we've got, this is a printable just from my spring gallery kit. So that just goes in there. Then we've got some printables there from my Victorian ephemera, I think set 3, although I could be wrong there. But obviously all the printables and things, they're all available in my shop. And then just a butterfly there, and a little label and a bow, obviously lace trim down the side. Oh, and I nearly forgot. Then we've got some of that vintage, what's the word? Wallpaper. Just opening out, and I just put some coffee dyed paper down for journaling in there. And then on here, this is one of those Taperology labels, and then just a stamped crown And then this here, this is in one of my kits, and I can't remember, I'm afraid, which kit it's from. But it could be that it's in one of my Perfect Pocket packs. But it's just like a little title kind of book plate thing on there. So that just closes up like that, and that just slots in the top. So you have got a lot of storage space in this pocket. Then going over the page, we've got more lace trim down here. Now this is one of those vintage ephemera pieces inspired by Ruby and Pearl. Again, I've got a tutorial coming up on this, but it's going to be in the new year. Some lace trim there and a wax seal with a ribbon. This is just a piece again from my Victorian gallery. It's been coffee dyed on the paper. Now this is that paper that does go very kind of yellowy and turmeric type colour. So that's why that's, you know, so yellow in colour. Then on this side of the page, this is one of those altered paper clips, which is actually the pen holder. So you can obviously put your pen in there. I don't have a pen to hand, but if I did, your pen would slip in there. Very, very pretty. It's just some scrapbook paper and then a piece from my Butterfly Musings kit there. And that's holding on this piece. Now, we made this together again in a tutorial, I think last year, when we were using the 12 by 12 paper pads. And it's just got a little fold out there, and then you've got some pockets here, and you've just got a journal card from my vintage ephemera, one of my vintage ephemera kits, and then here some more of that you know, faux vintage paper there. So again, you've got quite a bit of journaling in there, because you know, you could obviously journal on the piece itself and obviously on the things that you're pulling out. And then it's just all really neat and tidy. It all just ties back up round with the ribbon, which, you know, I just love kind of having the addition of the ribbon and things. It just makes it very interactive and, you know, adds super pretty kind of detailing to it. So that's that. That just clips on, like I say, with the paper clip. Then you've got a bunch of plain pages there for journaling. They've all been coffee dyed, and obviously some doily page. Now I clipped this on to the whole bunch of those pages together. The reason being is because obviously this is quite a bulky embellishment and a bulky paperclip. So just for durability's sake, I go through all of those pages. So as to save it being hanging, you know, a lot of heavy stuff hanging on one thin page. This, as you can see, this was torn in the coffee dyeing process, but, you know, I just want to kind of point that out. Then here we've got a very pretty pocket here made using the flea market kit. And then in here, we've just got one of those pockets using the Victorian Gallery kit and one of my little postcard printables there as well. So super pretty and, you know, gorgeous, because it's a pocket there inside a pocket. And obviously you could move this around in the journal if you wanted to just have it, you know, paper clipped over here, for instance, put something else in this pocket, then you could. Again, you've got some lace down here and the flower. Here, this is that big paint sample card that we made together recently. And tucked into there, I've got a vintage piece of ephemera. This is some genuine vintage ephemera. And then you've got one of my butterfly film strip printables there and a wax seal with some ribbon. So that just looks really, really gorgeous, doesn't it? And that just all tucks in like that. And then here on this side, you've got another pocket. And again, some genuine vintage ephemera stapled together with some other little bits and pieces. So, you know, you've got the genuine vintage ephemera, some plain pieces of paper, and obviously you can journal on, you know, the back, for instance, of some of them, and the back and front of some of them. Again, a wax seal and a ribbon on there. That just goes in there. That's one of my wax cabochons there with the flower. So that's all of that. Then on this side of the page, you've just got one of my little postcard printables, and then tucked into here, we've just got one of those very pretty little envelope flips. This is just using the, I think it's the Pink Lady papers, and then just some of my vintage header pieces stuck on there for detail, because that's the piece that obviously shows. And then you've got here a lovely flower with a pearl. That all just tucks into that pocket there. And then you've got, I think that's one of my faux stamped images there. And then you've got some lace trim obviously running down the edge of the page. Then on this side of the page, we've got a pocket here. Inside that pocket, there's some genuine vintage ephemera with some coffee dyed sheets in, you know, on each sort of leaf of that. and then you fold that up, and then on the front that's some more genuine vintage, you know, paper. It's from, I think, the cover of some sheet music, and then obviously the little price point there, and then just a label on there, some lace running down the side, and a little flower with a pearl on there. So that just all tucks in behind that, oops, or into that pocket like that. Now this is obviously a pocket with quite a few elements. So you've got the first pocket there, you've got the second pocket there, and then you've got the third, whoops, the third pocket there, which, don't tell me I've now glued this in. No, I haven't. Oh, honestly, the amount of times I do glue things in. So this has got a cluster on the front, a label, and some ribbon, lace. And then you've just got a little piece of printable on there. So that just goes in like that. You've got one of those faux pieces of ephemera there. And again, one of my little vintage postcard printables there. And then here, some more of that lovely faux ephemera and a little stamped image there, all just stapled together and kind of folded in so as it fits in the pocket. And then that printable from, I think that's my Perfect Pockets, one of those sets. I'm not sure which number, I'm afraid. Then here we've just got a cluster, plain pages for journaling. Here we've got just a paper bag, and it's got some lace trim and a little flower there stuck on there. And then another one of those gorgeous, you know, from my Victorian album pages with the Lewis Carroll images in there. This again is from one of my Perfect Pocket packs, and that just goes in like that. That all just tucks into there. Oh, and a little flower obviously there, and some pearly trim. Here we've got a cluster and a wax seal. Again, more plain pages for journaling, some vintage sheet music. Here we've got one of those fabric tip-ins, which I think we've made these in a mass making. For some reason this is now, oh no, I've stuck that flower on, which then got it stuck there. So yeah, that's your fabric tip-in, which obviously you can then lift that and journal underneath. Here we've got one of those little faux envelopes made from book page. I don't think I've put anything in there, but obviously you could. You've got some fabric ruffle down there and a little flower, and then it's also a pocket in the top with a little journal card. Here we've got some lace trim, and then here I just did a tuck spot with this stamped piece on some printable, and I think we did a tutorial for these. And then I just made a little really simplistic tag, just using literally some background paper from my Victorian gallery, Victorian Springtime, I think, kit. And literally it's single-sided. I've coffee dyed it. It is that photo paper that goes quite yellowy, but I just put a wax seal on there as a tab. Then here you've just got another little you know, frame type detail. And I love having things like this, because if you're journaling all around here, this is an opportunity to put something extra special about what you're journaling about, or, you know, like a date or the place, or, you know, something special in there. So you can be a bit imaginative when you've got kind of things like that on the page. Then on this side, we've got one of those famous painting pockets, which we made together in a tutorial, a couple of labels on there, and tucked into the side. These are some of my background papers, and I do apologise because I can't remember the name of these, but these are, oh, they might be Pink Posy, I think, or Posies. I think that's what they're called. I do apologise because I know lots of you do like to know the names of the kits that I've used, so that's why I'm really trying to emphasise what I've used where. So I do apologise that I can't remember this. A little label there, and then here we've got a wax seal, and then inside of this it's lined with book page, vintage book page, and then we've got one of those faux pieces of ephemera from the Titanic Museum in Belfast. So it's a faux piece of ephemera, but it's been aged to make look old and genuine. So that just goes in like that, and then that just tucks all in like that, which I just love how that looks with the flap kind of coming over that famous painting pocket. Lace trim down there. Then here we've got more lace trim, and then we've got one of those collage pockets there. And obviously that's glued down on three sides as a pocket. You've got one of my bright butterflies there, and then here we've again got some vintage ephemera, and I just stapled on another piece just for kind of like interest, really, to make it look a bit, you know, a bit different. So that just goes in there like that. Then here we've just got a piece from my Perfect Pocket kits, and that's just got a little journal card from my Paris note cards pieces there. Then we've got plain pages for journaling, obviously that vintage sheet music, plain page, the rest of that paper bag. You could cut that open obviously and use it as a pocket, or you could keep it closed and obviously just journal on it. And then some more, you know, of that vintage book page. And then here we've got just one of those gorgeous tracing paper envelopes. Sorry, I was trying to find the word. Tracing paper envelopes. So this is just gorgeous. I absolutely love how this looks. So it's tracing paper which has been stitched around onto the sheet music. And then basically this is, I think, some genuine vintage ephemera here, some genuine vintage ephemera here, including the, you know, rusted paper clip. And then here we've just got one of those large butterfly printables. This is from my King's Park, or King Street, I think it is, kit, and some labels from my Labels #1 kit. And then here you've got some lace. Now I am going to glue that down because I'm finding it very irritating, the fact it's flapping around. So yeah, I'm just going to put a bit more glue on there to hold that flat, because it's obviously got, you know, folded over. And then here on the front we've got some lace and some bling. Absolutely love this envelope. And then tucked into there, tucked into there, we've just got one of those little, again, tracing paper, like booklet flip things. So you open it up and you've got lots of pages there for journaling. They're all kind of clumped together, but yeah, quite a few pages for journaling in there. And then you've got some doily and a cluster on the front. So really, really pretty, and obviously all just, you know, goes neatly into that envelope. So because it's all tracing paper, although you've got a lot of journaling space in there, it's quite flat. It's quite a flat piece, but that just literally hooks on to those pages. Now, I didn't even bother paper clipping that on, partly because there was a paper clip here and I thought it might look weird to have two. And I didn't obviously want to take that off because it was the genuine vintage one that was attached there. But also it doesn't really need it, to be honest. It's staying in place fine anyway. And then you've just got, oops, a couple more pages there for journaling. And I do apologise, this, I've obviously put something down on here and then taken it off. So I think maybe I did that because the journal was getting too bulky. But I do apologise, and I do want to point that out. It has got this run of glue here and here. And, you know, you could obviously cover that up, maybe just put some ribbon or something on there, or, you know, stick something down that's quite flat or something. But I just want to point that out. I'd actually forgotten about that. And then here we just hook that back over like that. Then here I've got one of those double, you know, double pocket pieces that go across like the two pages. So on this side, I just kind of clustered up some items here, some of my vintage cigarette cards with the ladies and some flowers there. And then this here, this is from my Country Cottages kits. It's just been coffee dyed and just made a little faux envelope which goes in there. This paper here is from my Redbirds kit. That just goes like that. And then this is a little kind of flippy pad with just a bunch of different things, but including this lovely striped greaseproof paper, which I just love, and it obviously gives that lovely crinkle effect. Some lace here, some bling, and some ruffle down the bottom. This is the other side. Obviously you've got a gorgeous cluster item here, some lace and some ribbon and a wax seal. And then tucked in here you've got again one of those vintage wallpaper pieces, which I've just made a little booklet in. It's just containing some vintage paper in there. And then on the front, just some clustered up items there and some lace. And then here we've just got a little stamped item there with some lace, not lace, some ribbon and a little buckle there. So that just tucks in like that, and it's been stitched around on the sewing machine. So that just goes in, oops, in there like that. Then on this facing page, we've just got an altered paper clip here with some fabric and some lace and things on there. And that's just holding in one of those little wraparound things, which again, we've done this in a tutorial and a mass making. It's got a cluster there and a butterfly. This is again from my Country Cottages papers, and this I think is from the Cambridge Garden papers. And then you've just got a bunch of coffee dyed paper in there for journaling, kind of creating a bit of a flippy pad. So you've got quite a bit of journaling space in there. And then you've just got a wraparound closure with some string. So that just all clips on there. These are all plain for journaling, and they're all obviously just coffee dyed papers. So that just paper clips onto the edge like that. Then on this side, we've got one of those large wallpaper pockets, which we made recently in a tutorial. Again, it's got that lovely vintage bird image and then some ribbon and things, you know, on there. One of my bright butterflies on there. And then tucked in here, we've just got one of my printables here from the invoice printables that are in my shop. And that's been coffee dyed and just obviously folded over. Some lace trim down the side, that just tucks in there. And then here we've got a little pocket, again, another one of those wallpaper booklets, which I've added some extra pages, and this just a tuck spot here. This is some of the paper from the haberdashery paper pad that I was very kindly gifted. We've got a wax seal, which is the kind of not closure, but you know, the holder for this baker's twine, and that just wraps around here. And then when you open it, you've just got some journaling space here and here. So, and again, I do have a tutorial coming up for this, but it will be in the new year now. And then here we've got an envelope, which on this side, I've glued the flap down as a little pocket. So you've got the pocket from the envelope here. You've got one of those, what do you call that? You know, cabochon type pieces here. It's got an image of, you know, the Paris Metro kind of stuff in vintage style. And then one of those faux vintage pieces there. You've got an altered paper clip there. Just holding a couple of pieces from my vintage ephemera kits together, and also that's the Myrtle Cottage, I think. So yeah, they just go together with that paper clip. That paper clip's also been rusted, so it's looking really nice. Oops, just put that in there. And then going over, we've got here obviously the rest of that vintage document, which has been made into the envelope. We've got a piece there from some of my printables, and then here I think that's from the Junk Journal Basics kit. This is a pocket, again, I haven't put anything in it. You've got a vintage postage stamp, and then here in this envelope I just tucked in again some more of my vintage style printables, which has been coffee dyed. It looks very, very vintage, I have to say, and it feels it too. So that just goes into there. You've got, like, you know, this is vintage document, original vintage document, and you've got there some little, I don't know whether they're wax seals actually. I was going to say they're wax seals, they might not be. They look like wax seals to me anyway, little pieces there, and like the embossing and things, all from the original, you know, vintage document itself. So I don't know whether the camera's actually picking that up, but it's very cool. And then here you've just got journaling space, and then here on the back page you've just got this large pocket. Sorry, I'm just getting rid of some glue threads here that I can see kind of on here. Here you've got this large pocket, and you've got a wax seal and some ribbon and things. You've got one of those lovely paper ruffles, which I was gifted by the lovely Mary Ann, sorry. And then some ribbon up there, and then tucked into there I just did a little flippy pad with some coffee dyed paper, and then you've got some lace at the top. So that's all just tucks into there. And that's it. And then we're back at the back. The closure itself is just some ribbon, which I just knotted in the middle to keep it together. It's just doubled over. I mean, it's, you know, it's removable. If you didn't want the ribbon, you could use something else. To be honest, the journal, although it's very, very chunky, the cover has taken on a very rounded, you know, natural rounding. So it doesn't like flip open or anything. It's kind of holding closed anyway. So, you know, whether or not you want to have a closure or need closure, it would be up to you. But yeah, that's the whole journal. So I really hope that you love it. Like I say, it's massive. It's just turned out huge, huge, huge. But hey, that's the fun of journals, isn't it? So yeah, obviously this item is going to be listed in my Etsy shop today. So that will be at 2 p.m. GMT. So if you wanted to get your hands on it, that's the time that it will be listed in my Etsy shop. So keep your eyes peeled if you would like it. And yeah, I really hope that you do like the journal. And thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, Anne. Bye.